The supernatural world surrounds us. Sometimes it manifests to people like you and me. You'll hear stories about this, so much more, right here on Supernatural Confrontations. My guest today is Joseph Dumond, and I think you'll find this really interesting. We're going to be talking about prophecy, Mount Sinai, what might be the original area where Noah's Ark landed on Ararat. It'll be very interesting. So we'll get into that, so much more. But first, a word from our trusted sponsor. You probably think your 401k is safe, that it's growing, that it'll be enough for your retirement. But what if it's not? Here's the truth, folks. Your 401k was never designed to make you wealthy. It was created in a corporate boardroom to shift retirement costs and investment risks onto you. Designed to keep your money trapped, exposed to Wall Street crashes, inflation, and uncertainty you can't control. Until now. Folks, Americans are taking back control by turning to real assets like gold. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands protect your future by converting part of their retirement savings into physical gold. Talk to Noble Gold today and learn how safe and easy it is to roll over your 401k into a tax-advantaged gold IRA without penalties or headaches. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit, including a step-by-step guide to get started. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. It's time to get your money out of the danger zone and into something real. And folks, get rewarded for getting started. Open a qualified account at noblegoldinvestments.com, and Noble Gold will send you 2 5-ounce Silver America, the beautiful coins free. Once again, folks, noblegoldinvestments.com. Before I bring Joseph in, folks, I just want to say one thing. If you've not become a member, become a member. For $9.99 a month, basically 30 cents a day, you're a member. So you get the news magazine for free. You get 10% off of everything in the store. Then, when I do these extended interviews, which we might get into here, who knows, members only, you get the access. And more importantly, you keep us doing what we love to do, talking about the Lord, and we do a show every single day. So we're here. Your support helps, and thank you so much ahead of time. It's right next to the subscribe button. It says member, join. So hit the join button and become a member. Joseph, thanks so much for coming on the record. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm looking at the whole Jubilee cycle. I talked to Jonathan Kahn a little bit ago, right here on the show, and we were talking about the whole Jubilee cycle and how this is, this. Let me just, and I'll let you go. Let me just set the stage. So, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago? We had the sacrifice of the red heifer, not the red heifer, but a red heifer with the 2 black hairs on it. And they filmed it. You can see the fire going up, not making this stuff up. And then another person sent me, the stonemason has carved the 4 cornerstones for the temple. So it's just like, you gotta be kidding me. And then add the Jubilee year on top of that. It's like, what are we looking at here? Speak to that, please.
Well, I watched your interview with Jonathan Kahn. Jonathan Kahn's a great teacher. We disagree about the Jubilee and sabbatical years, though. So what I've done is I've gone back and I've researched every sabbatical and Jubilee year that is known to man. And then I found 100 tombstones from this place called Zoar, the south end of the Dead Sea. Out of those 100 tombstones, I've got 42 of them that confirm when the sabbatical and Jubilee years are. They align with the other dates that I had. And therefore, this chart behind me is the 120th Jubilee cycle that we're in, starting in 1996 and going to 2044. So 2045 is the next Jubilee year. So I've got all these proofs to confirm that. But all end time prophecies got to end in this time period that we're in right now. So I've studied them. I look at the holy days of Leviticus 23 and try and understand how are they also applicable to this end time prophecy. We are coming into the time, or we're not coming, we are now in the time of judgment. So that starts in 2024. And these are what they call the days of awe from 2024 to 2033. So, a day for a year in prophecy. Now, you you brought up the red heifer right away. Like, you got to jump right into it. Yes, they did that on July 8th, I think it was, and they got a stone ready.
That's unprecedented. Let me just jump in here, folks. We haven't seen that in, like, I don't know, 2,000 years since the construction of a temple in AD 70. I mean, this is unbelievable. And I mean, they're going to build the third temple. There's no doubt about it. It's literal. It's a literal third temple. It's not figurative. It's not allegory. It's literal. And these are the Jews, and they're going to do it.
They've bought the land on the Mount of Olives. They've cleaned it up. They cleared all the area out. I've been there.
Right. So have I. Right.
Yeah. And so it's getting ready. It's getting ready. Oh, the people are brushing it off. No, they're not going to do that. We're going to be raptured out. No, there's stuff that's going to happen that you have to see. So where does the red heifer come in here? Right. So we got to back up a little bit. You okay to back up a little bit? We're going to come back to the red heifer.
But I want to tell you that I'm a pre-trib guy, and I think we're really close. I don't know what we're going to see or how much we're going to see before we're taken up. But let me just say this before I turn it over to you again. With the advent of AI, you don't know what's real anymore. That's a line to me. That's a line. And I think we're out of here sooner than later. We can disagree on that. That's fine. Please continue.
No. There's a lot. They've got the whole world of people disagreeing about everything. We can disagree on anything. What we're here to do, and what I like what you're showing, you're trying to find the truth. You're searching for the truth.
Right.
And you're willing to go anywhere to find it. So, again, I've got the Sabbath and Jubilee cycles. Where does the red heifer come into play here? You got to go back to Daniel 9. Daniel 9 says 70 weeks are decreed for your people. Now, 70 weeks, the word weeks is Shabuah. So the word Shabuah is where we get, now I always get this mixed up. It's the masculine singular of the plural feminine Shavuot. I hope I got that right. I'll probably get.
My hair's already spinning, so that's fine. Just cut to the chase. What does it mean?
Shabuah is the word weeks. 70 Shabuah. It's 70 Shavuot. Daniel was told to hide or seal up the books until the time of the end. So 70 Shabuah is 70 49s or 70 Feast of Weeks or 70 Jubilee cycles. So from the going forth of the command was Moses being told by God to go and get the people. And Moses left Mount Sinai, went across to Egypt, brought the people back to Mount Sinai in Saudi Arabia, which I just happened to be there 3 years ago. Awesome place. And he brought them back. So how do we prove, again, my thing is about proving stuff, not just having these theories, but being able to prove it. How do you prove that? It's very next verse 26, 7 Shabuah and then 62 Shabuah. So 7 weeks and 62 weeks is 7 Jubilee cycles and 62 Jubilee cycles. And then you see Messiah the Prince. Okay, so we count 7 Jubilee cycles from the Exodus. Where does that bring you to? It brings you to the time when King David was born. King David was anointed by Samuel as a young shepherd boy. He was anointed by all of Judah to be king, and then 7 years later by all of Israel. King David is the Messiah, the Prince that's being spoken of there. Then it goes on to say, and 62 Shabuah. So you count 62 Jubilee cycles, and that brings you to, right there, 1996. Which means the 70th week of Daniel 9 is talking about our time now. Now that should, what? It's not talking about Jesus. It's talking about our time now. And it says in the middle, I'll just show you the middle here. In the middle of the Jubilee cycle, in the middle of that 70th week, something was going to happen. That's 2020. When I started talking about this was in 2005. I've been telling people about 2020 since 2005, and I said, look what's going to happen at this time. And everyone says, you're crazy. Maybe they were right. I won't know until 2021. And in 2021, I look back, something happened in 2020. I think we all know what that is. COVID happened. What does that mean? It says sacrifice and offering will cease in 2020. Well, how did that happen? Where there's no temple? That's where we get this idea that there's got to be a temple, sacrifice and offering. Where's the temple? Hosea 14:2 says, the bullocks for our lips are the praises that we give to God instead of our sacrifices. So we offer these praises to God. On March 25th, 2020, Prime Minister Netanyahu locked down Israel. No quorums. A quorum is where you got to have 10 men to pray. No synagogues are open. No mosques are open. Yes, the odd one was open here and there. People are, the churches here. But around the world, everybody was locked down in 2020.
Right.
And Netanyahu locked down Israel on March 25th. So write down March 25th. That's an important date in 2020. So what does that mean? Okay, so I got 2020. Who cares? Like, big deal. Well, you go to Daniel 12, verse 11, and it says, from the time that the daily was taken away, count 1,290 days until the abomination is set up. So I went to Israel in September of 2023, and I was looking for the pre-construction site, because I work in construction. So before you can put up a statue, you got to have a construction site. You got to get the ground. So I'm looking for that, and I'm looking in the place where I'm almost 100% sure they're going to set it up on, near where they're going to do the red heifer site now. And I'm there, and I'm searching, and I found a construction site. I found a shrine being built. I thought, is this it? I'm thinking this is it. And I started looking, and I started watching. October 7th, I'm standing there, and they're about to do this great big procession out to this shrine. And I thought this was it. And then we all had to run back in because of all the rockets. And I said, what? They're not stopping? They usually stop after a couple shots. I've been to Israel 25 times. You get used to it, and it's part of their life. But these ones didn't stop. And I'm standing there in the Kidron Valley, and I'm saying, what's going on? These explosions are loud, and they're overhead, over in Jerusalem. And I go back to my room, and the curtains from the concussions are moving. Not from the wind, but from the concussions of the explosion.
Right. Wow.
There's gunfights all around us there. I didn't know what was going on. But they didn't set up the abomination that day. And I was asking God, what's going on? What are you doing? Like me asking him, what are you doing? Somebody, that was Saturday, October 7th was Saturday. That was Shimini Atzaret. Somebody sent me a video from the massacre that took place at Yam that day. I couldn't believe it. Like, it was raw footage. Nothing's spliced together. Just here it is, boom. And you couldn't stop looking. It's like driving out a car wreck, and you can't not look. And I kept looking, playing it over and over again. I couldn't believe it. And the rockets are still going. And the rumors are now flying in that Hamas has gotten all the way into Israel by miles. And now we're starting to panic. Where's the IDF? And then we hear that the IDF, the one brigade there on the Gaza border, got severely wiped out. These are just 18, 19-year-old kids.
Right.
Like, you're what the same age as me. Like, they're our kids.
Right.
Or
grandkids. No, I get it.
Or grandkids, yeah. And I didn't know what was going on. But as I watched the videos, at the beginning of the Nova Festival, over top of the DJ tent was a giant Buddha statue.
There you go.
A giant Buddha statue. And where are they dancing around? They're dancing around the Buddha statue. They were not keeping Shimini Atzaret. All these young people were there having a rave party. And it breaks my heart. I love Israel, but they sinned. There's no difference in when Moses and Aaron came off of Mount Sinai and they saw Israel dancing around the golden calf.
I agree. I completely concur.
Moses was furious. He broke the 10 Commandments, smashed them on a rock. They don't deserve these. 1,170 people killed, 250 kidnapped, 251 kidnapped. They still got, 50 there now, bodies and live ones?
Hamas has not surrendered yet. And I wanted to say something to the folks. I believe that Israel is God's timepiece for the end times. I do not believe that the current government and many of the people in Israel, are, let's put it this way, I don't give them a blank check. It is corrupt as any other government on the planet. There's all sorts of stuff going on that we don't know about. I'll just say this: the Epstein files. I'll just let that hang there. So I don't give them a blank check, but they are God's timepiece. The Jews and Israel is God's timepiece right now, and that's what we're looking at. You mentioned about watching the raw footage. I too. We were slated to actually lead a tour. It was sold out. We got 50 people, one bus. We were supposed to fly in on the 7th to Israel. And I was at Prophecy Watchers Conference, and Bob Ulrich calls me up at 6 a.m. Israel's at war. I go, what? We were ready to leave. I mean, we were headed to the airport that morning to head to Israel. And I got on the phone with Abby Lipkin and I said, Abby, what's going on here? He goes, oh, this will it's always the same way as it is,
It'll be over in the 5 minutes. Yeah.
But those already come, please, how they come? And I'm going, oh, yeah, but what if it doesn't end? And then he goes, that could be a problem. Right? But here we are, almost 2 years. And, people go, free Gaza for the river to the free. Palestine must be free. Clueless, completely, utterly clueless.
So that's obviously part of prophecy, what you just said, too. And I've also done tours with Abby. Abby's a great tour guide.
Yeah.
So you can't go wrong with him.
Let's give him a plug. LipkinTours.com, LipkinTours.com. See Israel the right way. They're great. I love them. If the war ever ends and we're still here, we'll do another tour. But I digress. Please continue.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what is October 7th mean now. Is that's 1,290 days, but 1,290 days was October 6th. Not October 7th. It was October 6th. And you go to Matthew 24, where Jesus says, when you see the abomination of desolation set up, that's spoken of by Daniel, flee to the mountains of Judea. So, okay, that was set up on October 6th. If you see it, you're supposed to flee then. I'm thinking if I see this thing here in Jerusalem, there's only one road out of here. There's no place to flee in this jam-packed with people. This is crazy. But when you see I was in the mountains of Judea. That's where Jerusalem is. I was in the right place. I was fortunate to be not at the where the abomination was. Because I would have been so stupid, I would, right? What do I do? Stay here and look at it, tell people. But then they began shooting at 6:30 in the morning. Anyway, the next part, Daniel 12, verse 12. 13, blessed are those who achieve the 1335-day mark. That brought us to, if we start counting from March 25th, that brings you to November 21st of 2023. That was the day they made the agreement to release the first bunch of hostages. And the hostages started to be released 2 days later after that. So I now got these 2 dates confirming prophecy. 2020, I didn't have a date. I had an idea. But now I've got 2 dates to lock in on. This brings me now to Daniel 8. And Daniel 8 also says from the time the daily is taken away, count 2,300 days.
Taken away. Daily sacrifice.
Well, it's daily. The sacrifice is added by the translators. So I believe it's just daily in that one. Okay. But that's what it's talking about.
Agree on that, but go ahead.
Okay. But that brings you to another date. So now we've got a firm date to start that is confirmed by 2 things. Now we got a third one that we're looking for. That is July 12th, 2026. So July 12th is 2026. I think I'm pointing at it right there. Is in the middle of this sabbatical cycle. It's in the middle of this time period I call the 10 days of awe. So the 10 days of awe end when Satan's locked away in 2033 on the Day of Atonement. 2026. So 3.5 years for tribulation brings you to Passover 2030. 3.5 years for the two witnesses brings you to 2026. That's next year. That ties into the Daniel 12, or no, Daniel 8, 2,300 days thing. So now,
let me interrupt real quick. So you
Yep.
believe right now that we're in the tribulation period?
no,
Okay.
we're in the 10 days of awe, which is the 10 days of judgment from the Feast of Trumpets to the Day of Atonement. This is the time when the books are opened and you refine your name in the book of life before the Day of Atonement, before the last Tekiah Gedola, the last shofar blast before the sun sets on the Day of Atonement. So in the same way that Yeshua was killed, Jesus was killed at Passover in every little detail. His return is according to the fall feast in every little detail. And that return now at the end of the sixth millennial day, which is what this is right here, 2044, that return has got to be according to the holy days, which is the Feast of Trumpets and the Day of Atonement. That's the 10 days of awe, the time of judgment on mankind at this time period. So that fits within this Jubilee cycle. Now here, I'm trying to get to the red heifer. So I haven't forgot that. But it says in Luke, I think it's Luke 17, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the last days. And as it was in the days of Lot, so shall it be in the last days. What were they doing that was so terrible? They were eating, they were drinking, they were getting married, and they were doing business. I think you ate, drank, you did business today.
But now you're in my wheelhouse, and
Uh-oh.
I can't let that go. Who are they? Who are they? Jesus.
Who are they? They're
No.
okay. Go ahead.
This is, I've written all the film. Here's the deal. This is why it's so important to understand the exegesis of Genesis 6, because if we don't get that right and we plug in the Sethite theory, when we come to this, we have no idea what Jesus is talking about. 2,000 years ago, when Jesus said it'll be like the days of Noah, everybody knows exactly what he's talking about. Why? Because the bones of the Nephilim, the bones of the giants, according to Josephus, are openly on display. Where? In Jerusalem. Everyone knows what he's talking about. Then, after he's dead, in the 4th century, these guys come up with the whole Sethite theory, which is completely bogus, completely mistranslating it. And now 2,000 years later, people don't understand who they are. It's not men. Who were the they?
Okay.
It's the fallen angels. They. Remember, the sons of God took wives. There it is. They were eating and drinking. And this is my wheelhouse. And I mean, if you haven't studied, this is a whole different deal. And it's going on today.
This is your wheelhouse. I can't argue with you on that because I don't know that stuff that well. But we may disagree about this a little bit. But I'm saying, as it was in the days of Noah, as it was in the days of Lot, no disrespect, it was irrelevant unless you understand the Jubilee cycles. Because as it was in the days of Noah, Noah's flood took place in the 4th year of the 6th sabbatical cycle. That's a judgment time. Lot's Sodom and Gomorrah took place in the 3rd year of the 6th sabbatical cycle. Another judgment time. And then by doing the Jubilee cycles, I discovered the 7 years of plenty of Joseph and the 7 years of famine also concluded at the end of the famine in the 3rd year of the 6th sabbatical cycle. So as it was in the days of Noah, as it was in the days of Lot, as it was in the days of Joseph, so shall it be in the last days. Judgment is on mankind during this time period. And that's what I believe. And I'm not trying to take anything away from you, but that's what I believe Yeshua was talking about here at this time. It's going to be judgment during that time. And judgment starts with the Feast of Trumpets. That's what the Feast of Trumpets is all about. It's the Feast of Shouting, judging mankind. So Jesus was born on the Feast of Trumpets. He's coming back on the face of trumpets. And judgment is going to be during this time period here. So now, going back to the Daniel or 8 thing, the 2,300 days, it says 2,300 days, then the saints will be vindicated, or the sanctuary will be vindicated. And what does that mean? Does that mean the temple's going to be built, the sanctuary, the kadosh, or because that word kadosh can also mean saints? Is that what is it saying? And it's not trampled, and it's not vindicated. The Hebrew word there, which I've only just recently discovered, means cleansed. They will be cleansed. So I went to, I believe it's Rambam, Maimonides, to see what did he say about this? What are the sages saying about this? And I look him up, and he says it's tying into Malachi 3. And in Malachi 3, it says that and I'm just paraphrasing instead of trying to quote it, that the Messiah is going to cleanse the Levites and make them pure so that they can now do the sacrifices again. What's the one thing, the only thing that will cleanse the Levitical priesthood?
Ashes of the red heifer.
Ashes of the red heifer. What Rambam said is that Malachi 3 is telling you that Jesus is going to sacrifice that red heifer. And then, no, how? And you think about it, but that's what it's telling you. And then you go back to Daniel 8, 2,300 mornings, evenings and mornings, then the sanctuary, then the saints, then the utensils, then the temple, then the priest, whatever you want to put in there will be cleansed. And the only way they can be cleansed is with the red heifer. So I believe this one that was just killed July 8th is a practice for the one that's going to be killed on July 12th next year.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, obviously there's discrepancy in our belief system, which is fine. I don't think we've got to 2044. There's no way this thing can last that long.
No.
It's just impossible. So I think we're on the cusp of something. I'm not sure what that something is. I would like to believe that the church is going to be taken out of here because you can't fix this. Joseph, excuse me. I think you'll agree with me that you can't fix this anymore. I mean, I don't care who's in the White House or what they're going to do, or the white hats or the black hats. You can't. The fact that you've got my friend Bob Ulrich sent me this clip. This is my point. That it's just there was a TikTok influencer, and she's got up 100,000 subscribers or whatever on TikTok. It turns out she's 100% AI. 100% AI, and nobody knew. And this is my point. We don't, what is it? Isaiah 59, 14. Justice is held back, righteousness stands far away, truth is thrown to the street, and honesty cannot come in. That's exactly where we are. We don't know what we're looking at anymore. I mean, we have even that red heifer ceremony could be all AI, except I don't think it is. I think it's a practice run, and that's real. But they can certainly make it through AI, and who would know? So,
yeah. So we were just at the red heifers in February.
Okay.
There was 5 there. I'm planning on going back there soon, and I'll see if there's only 4 left. If there's 3, I'm going to get worried, but I'll be going back to check. Okay, so just to clear something up, 2044 is the start of the 7th millennium, or 2045, the start of the 7th millennium. That's the next Jubilee year. But Jesus also said, unless those days were cut short, nor flesh would be saved alive, which is what you're saying, which brings us back down to 2033, when Satan will be locked away. That's Revelation 20.
So you believe we're on the cusp of the tribulation, like right now?
Yes,
I do too.
So, yes, we are. Okay, so what happened here? So I've got another book that I'm writing. I started writing it as on Israel attacked Iran on June 13th, right?
Right.
No, the finished.
I'd have to look that up. Yeah.
Whatever day they started attacking Iran, 24 hours later, they dominated the skies. I couldn't believe it. Everyone's afraid of the big bad wolf, and he's just a big puff of smoke. Well, he's not, he's more than that, but they dominated Iran in 24 hours. And I went back and I started thinking, what does that mean? This is huge. Syria just fell 6 months ago.
Right.
What does that mean? I didn't know what that meant. And then I started, oh, that's the three horns. Is that the three horns of Daniel? So we've written a book. I'm on the last chapter. I'm about to publish it, explaining these three horns.
Okay, so I want to keep this pithy, and for some people, getting in the dates and this and that. Let me just ask you some very poignant questions. All right.
Okay.
First one is: do you believe in a literal rebuilding of the third temple, or is it figurative?
I believe it's going to be rebuilt. Yes. I don't know how much is going to be completed, but yes, I believe it's going to be rebuilt.
And will that rebuilding of the temple, will that be on the Temple Mount proper that we see now?
I believe that's where they believe it should be.
Yeah.
I'm not of the same opinion, but that's where I believe they will start to build it.
And I've been to the Temple Mount. I know you have too. And that by the East Gate, there's 10 acres that are just sitting there. The Muslims use it for overflow during their, holy days, but it's just sitting there. I mean, you could build the temple right there, put up the wall, which fulfills the prophecy. The outer court is defiled by the Gentiles. I mean, it's the part that intrigues me is the ashes of the red heifer, the ceremony that was done. The 4 cornerstones have already been cut. They're ready to go. I want to move away from some of this, and you've been to some of these incredible sites, like Mount Sinai, and Penny, and I actually spoke to Penny Caldwell this morning because I knew you were coming on the record, and Jim and Penny discovered the stone that they believe Moses spoke to, and there's the split, and you can see the rocks. I mean, it just goes on. I've never been there, but they have. So
you got to go.
I know. Well, honestly, I won't set foot in the Muslim country. I just won't do it.
You know what? The Arabian people are super nice.
I know they are.
They're super nice. I went there. We were going to go in March of 2020, and we had to shut that down because of COVID. I finally went back in 22. I thought they've opened up the country. We got to go. I got a chance to go. I read about Ron Wyatt. This is one of my dream things. I never thought I'd get to do this on my bucket list. I'm not getting any younger. I got to go. And I went, and I climbed to the top. I seen the golden calf altar. I seen where they crossed the Red Sea. I seen how wide the wadi was. They went up.
Yeah.
I seen the 70 wells. And we went with Andrew Jones. Now plug the Andrew Jones. He was awesome. Super nice tour guide. Climbed to the top. I got into the block area, and then I had a meltdown.
Wow.
I don't know why. Like you and I, we're doing this all the time. You get calloused up. You're used to the hard shots, the hurts, the stabs. I got to the top and I just started bawling.
Wow.
And I couldn't stop.
Wow.
I couldn't stop. So the guy was with me. I said, go. Like I'm 300 feet from the top. I said, go, you go. I'm just going to have my moment here. Then I'll catch up. Well, my moment didn't stop. I just bawled my eyes out because he's real.
Yeah, no, I get that.
He's real. He's not an allegory. He's not some figment of your imagination. It's not something you do on Sunday mornings at church for that. He's real. I went to, like you mentioned this before, I went to Noah's Ark in 2007. Again, I talked to Ron Wyatt in 1998, the year before he died. And I asked him, is this stuff real, or are you lying to you? What? I can't believe it. And I was having a moment that I had to reprove the Bible. I've been told what the Bible says, but now I had to prove what it says. And going to see Noah's Ark was one of those things that proved it was real. Going to Mount Sinai proved that it's real. With Avi Lipkin, going to the Joshua altar, the very first thing they built.
Oh, I love that. You're in my wheelhouse again. Be careful.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
And that's
the giant footprint.
And there's his calling card right there. Shroud of Turin. Proof of the resurrection. We just shameless plug. We just finished a film on this, but No one, it's the most studied artifact on the planet. And, they don't know how it was done. Let me just weigh in real quick on the cursed tablet. For those of you who don't know, Joshua's altar, right after the conquest of Ai, Joshua came in and built this altar. It's basically on the gateway to the promised land. So I was on the Zoom chat with the archaeologists. They opened it up and I was invited and I signed up for it and I was on there listening to the presentation. And then I threw the monkey wrench into the whole thing. And I said, okay, here's the deal, guys. I am totally biased. I completely admit that. I am biased in what I'm about to tell you. But this cursed tablet is not for the people of Israel. This cursed tablet is for the inhabitants in Milan. And the inhabitants of Milan are the giants, the Nephilim. Cursed, cursed, cursed. Cursed of Yahweh. You will die cursed. Cursed, cursed, cursed. And because it's buried in the altar, right? They found it in the spoils from the altar. That's huge. And it's folded up. That was on that altar. That cursing was not for the people of Israel, in my opinion. And I know I'm going against the mainstream here, but I'm biased. That is for the inhabitants of Milan that they are told to go in and kill, which are the Nephilim tribes.
That altar, I'm pretty sure I already told you, but that altar was built on top of Jacob's altar. And Jacob's altar was built on top of Abraham's altar. All three of them in the same place. And the ashes that you're talking about where this lead scroll is taken from, the last time I was there, I climbed up over top of those ashes, not knowing what they were.
Right.
Because we came in through the side, trying to park a car so nobody could see it. We come in through the side. It's in the Muslim area. You don't want to be exposed there by yourselves. So, but I travel Israel by myself looking for these places. Anyway, that's an amazing find. It's an amazing discovery. There's always something new coming out of Israel.
Oh.
So Mount Sinai, when I was there, at the very top, now I didn't see it until I came back down. Somebody showed me a picture and I was really upset. But at the top, the 70 elders said that when they looked and they could see God on the top of the mountain, so the 70 elders at the plateau, and about another, 500-600 feet higher is the point. And on that point, that's where God was, and beneath his feet was the blue emerald sea, right? That's or something to that description.
Right.
I'm up there. I'm having my cry fest. I'm picking up these little black rocks to put in my bag to take to my grandchildren. If I'd gone just a little bit more, if I'd gone just around the corner, all these rocks got this blue sheen to it.
Wow.
And when you zoom in on it, it looks like glass. And when you look down the valley, you can see what looks like broken glass all throughout the valley. And I didn't know what that was. But it's the blue beneath his feet, the emerald beneath his feet. Now, some people suspect that the Ten Commandments stone were originally made from this glass-like structure, this emerald structure. Because to get a stone off of the top of the mountain is like, you can't break it off. You can't break it off with a hammer. It's so hard. Wow. So if Moses took the Ten Commandment stones and broke them, how would he break them? That rock is so hard. So one of the rabbis has said that the stones are made out of this blue glass. So maybe, I don't know. So again, do we explain the red heifers? We explain the Daniel 8 leading up to them.
Well, I mean, you and I could talk the rest of the day. And I get that without any problem at all. We could be bouncing around, scripture and prophecy. We both agree on one thing, folks. We are rapidly closing in on something. I'm not a date center, but maybe next Wednesday we go up. Just joking. But the bottom line is we're in unprecedented waters, uncharted.
I am a date setter.
I know,
but I'm not setting date. And so people go, oh no, don't want to talk to that guy. He's a date setter. And they say that because of what Jesus said in what Matthew, the hour. No man knows the day or the hour. But people don't realize what he's telling you. He's telling you the very day and hour he's coming back because he's telling you about a specific feast day. So in Israel, At the time of Yeshua was there, the Feast of Trumpets comes along. It's the Feast of Trumpets is on the first day of the 7th month. It's the only holy day that begins on the first day. And the month begins with a crescent moon. Nobody knows whether or not the crescent moon is going to be seen. So it's either a 29th or a 30-day month. So they send 2 witnesses out, or they send everybody out, and they have 2 witnesses get examined by the priest. When the priest determines that these 2 have actually seen the moon, he shows them a bunch of different pictures. Which one did you see? Is it this one, that one, which one? And they say that one there, and the priest knows which one it should look like. They declare that they have 2 witnesses. Now the high priest goes to the court, stands at the top of the stairs, and he announces, the day is hallowed.
Right.
The day is hallowed. Then they begin to blow the shofars, and they sound the shofars, and everyone in Jerusalem starts yelling, the day is hallowed, the day is hallowed, because now the feast is here. Now we didn't know. Did we have witness? We didn't know until that moment. Now we know. Now they start lighting the bonfires on the Mount of Olives, so they go all the way over to Jerusalem, Babylon, in a matter of minutes. The day is hallowed all the way to Babylon. Then they send riders from Jerusalem yelling from town, like Paul Revere, yelling from town to town, the day is hallowed, the day is hallowed. And they're doing this throughout the night until the whole state, the whole country of Israel, and those in the diaspora now know that the day is hallowed, the Feast of Trumpets had begun. It's a day and hour nobody knows, and that's the day, that's the meaning of the day when Yeshua said he's going to come back on.
Amen.
That's the very same day he was born on. And you can find everything that I just said at the Temple Institute. They just described the day,
Right.
like I just said. So this thing that people say, you can't know these dates. I know the Jubilee cycles. As it was in the days of Noah and Lot, I see a pattern matching up here. As it was in the days of Joseph, I see a pattern. I see the holy days, Feast of Trumpets, Day of Atonement. I see a pattern that I'm looking at. I have 2020 in the middle of the week. I have the 1,290 days from that to 2023, wherever that is here up there. And I have all these proofs coming through.
How do we get the book which talks about all this?
So I have It's a Riddle, Not a Command, which explains the day and hour nobody knows. That explains that. The Jubilee Cycles is one of my latest books last year. The Stones Cry Out.
Right.
The one that I'm working on is called The Line Rises, The Coming of Apollyon, the Destroyer.
Right.
And
how do we get access to these?
At sightedmoon.com, you can get all the more sightedmoon.com. sightedmoon.com. So like the 2 witnesses, you're going out to sight the moon, right?
At the moon, sighted moon.
So yeah, I gotta get it there or at Amazon.
I mean, we could talk, till the second coming, literally. But thank you for coming on the show. Sightedmoon.com. Sightedmoon.com. If you're interested at all, go check that out. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider joining and becoming a member. And remember, the supernatural world is real, and sometimes it manifests to people like you and me. Thanks so much for watching.